Well, let's take you to this now. Ahead of the elections in the DRC, concerns have been raised about the security challenges in that country. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on authorities and stakeholders in the DRC to ensure that the eastern part of the country that has seen the deadliest conflict in recent times goes to elections also. For more on the DRC elections, SABC News Correspondent Ocamringa is joining us from Kinshasa in the DRC. Chris, thank you so much for your time. Now, these are one of the most anticipated elections of 2023 for the DRC. The issue, of course, of security is a critical one. Are all the regions going to be able to go on the polls?
Well, according to the Electoral Commission in the DRC, most of the regions across the 26 provinces will be voting apart from 3 areas. Now, 2 of those areas are found in North Kivu province, where there has been a lot of violence. The M23 rebels have captured a number of territories in that area. So there's Masisi and Ruchuru, where people in that area will not be able to vote. And then there's another area in the western part of the DRC known as Kwamuth, where there has been intertribal conflicts between communities known as the Teke and the Yaka, where the people there will also not be able to vote. But voting will go on across the other parts of the country. The Electoral Commission has assured people to turn up in large numbers to cast their votes because there were a lot of doubts and allegations that the elections might be postponed because there were some logistical challenges. The Electoral Commission had asked the United Nations Security Council to authorize the peacekeeping mission here to help them with planes and helicopters to deliver some of the electoral materials in these hard-to-reach areas. You know, the DRC is a very large country and it has very poor roads, especially in the remote parts of the country. This is a rainy season, and so many trucks and 4x4 vehicles cannot, transport these electoral materials, and that's why they asked for planes. The UN has said they will support them within their budget. And that is very good news to the officials at the Electoral Commission here. So many people are waiting to cast their votes tomorrow. Nancy?
Now, fears are mounting that the current statements made by President Felix Tshisekedi will lead to instability in the Great Lakes region. Is this also a big concern in the DRC? What are you picking up?
Well, there's certainly a lot of concern about this security situation, especially after an announcement was made in Friday in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, by the former head of the DRC Electoral Commission. He's known as Corneille Nangaa. He was there in Nairobi and said that he has launched a new political and military movement that is working closely with rebel groups like the M23 and 8 other groups across the DRC to topple the government of the DRC president. So that has really created a lot of concern. The officials here in Kinshasa have recalled the ambassador to Kenya and Tanzania, and they're very suspicious of the East African community because they are saying some of these countries in the East African community, like specifically Rwanda, has been supporting the M23 rebels to destabilize the east of the country. And President Felix Tshisekedi, during his last campaign rally that was held on Monday, said that, he is prepared to go to war with Rwanda. And so those are very, very disturbing remarks coming from, the president of the country. And that is why there's a lot of concern that this might, spill over, not just in the DRC and Rwanda, but the entire Great Lakes region. Because in the past, in the 1990s, there was a conflict that happened in the east of the DRC that sucked in 9 countries in Africa. It was known as Africa's Second World War. And so they are really, the fears are real, and authorities here are trying to work with some regional organizations and the international community to ensure that this election happens without any violence in the country.
Now, Chris, as we wrap up, of course, let's look at the front runners of these elections. Of course, we know that Tshisekedi will be going for his second term, hopefully. Can you take us through these candidates that are especially enjoying support?
Yeah, first of all, there are the number of candidates who are still in the running is 19. Initially, there were 26 candidates, presidential candidates who were in the race, but 7 of them have since stepped down for the 2 leading candidates, namely President Felix Tshisekedi and Moise Katumbi. So Moise Katumbi is regarded as the main challenger of President Felix Tshisekedi. He's a wealthy businessman, and he's a former governor of Katanga province. That's an area in the central part of DRC where there's a lot of minerals in that area. And so he is one of the candidates who's leading in this race. There's also another one known as Martin Fayulu, who stood in the race in 2018, and he claimed that he was robbed of victory. We also have another candidate known as Dr. Denis Mukwege. He's the Nobel Peace winner in 2018 for his work in treating survivors of rape. Now, these are the 4 candidates who are really in the lead according to some opinion polls and political commentators in the DRC. The other candidates are very little known. There is a pastor, about 2 pastors, and there's one lady who is calling on Congolese to vote for her because she believes she has what it takes to turn this country into a better place for all people. She says she has never been involved in any rebellion. She is not in support of any violence, and so she believes that she's the best person to become the president. But Congo is still, many people are hoping that the challenges of this country are very huge, and from speaking to some of the people here, they don't feel that Marie-José Ifoko, who is the only female president, is ready to lead this country. But I mean, that is only an opinion by some people. We're waiting to see what will happen on Wednesday when polls open.